Hey everybody, in this video we're gonna show you how to connect a computer running Windows 10 Home operating system to another computer in another part of the world using the remote desktop service. There are a few things we need to configure on this other computer which is located in the other part of the world before we establish that connection. So now I will switch the desktops and go directly to this other computer which is in another part of the world. So this is Windows 10 Home. This is Windows 10 Professional operating system. And the things we need to configure is first we need to open the control panel. In System and Security, we need to allow an application through the Windows firewall. In this list, we need to find the remote desktop service. There it is, and we see that it is already activated. And the public section, this box is activated, which means that the remote desktop service is allowed to go through the Windows firewall. The second important thing we need to do is to create a user account. On that computer, we already have one user account, but we would like to create a second user account and give it to our friend or to a family member. And with the password, that person will be able to access that Windows 10 Professional operating system from his personal computer located in any part of the world. So after I click here, add a new user in PC settings, I will get directly this window. And here I choose the option add someone else to this PC. And I start the process of creating a new user account on that computer. I don't have this person's sign-in information, so I choose that option. The next step gives me two options. First option, to use an email address in order to create a user ID with which I can log in that user account. But I want to add a user without a Microsoft account and email address. So I simply write the name of the new user account, test name. I will choose remote desktop test and I will enter a password just for this example. Now I have to choose some security questions. I will choose any answers just to write something and to do that demo faster. So after I have chosen some answers for those security questions, I go to the next, and here I see that user account is already created. The next important thing we need to do is to add that user account to a list of users which are allowed to use the remote desktop. So I go back again to the control panel in the system. And here I choose that those settings allow remote access. Here I see that I already have that activated on that computer. Allow remote connections to this computer. Okay, that's allowed. Here we have a higher option of security which is activated. So now I simply have to add the new users. Here I type the name. And I have that user now added to that list of users which can access this computer using the remote desktop service. So I click OK and OK. So the next important thing we need to do is to configure our router to forward the port, to forward the remote desktop and the service through the port 3389 and to that computer. Now many of you have different routers around the world, so I will give you a list with routers where you can find instructions exactly for your router, your model and your type. So here are a list of routers, and you simply need to check type in the model of your router, and here, oh, there it is. We have Cisco here, for example, routers of Cisco. However, there are many other types as well. And once you find your router listed here, you choose the model and you will set up the port forward for the remote desktop service. The remote desktop service uses the port 3389, and you have to associate in the router settings that port number 3389 with your IP address of the computer where you would like to connect to. So now I leave that to you and I go to the next step. For the next step, you're gonna need also the external IP of that router. So, what is my external IP address? So, this shows us that this router that we have has that external IP address, and this is the IP address which I should use in order to connect to that computer. That is everything I need. Now I have to close that desktop and go back to the first operating system, Windows 10 Home, and here I have to open the remote desktop application. And here I have to type that address of the remote desktop computer. Actually, this is already in the system. So I choose that IP address, but I won't choose that name. I will choose another name later. So here is a prompt. I want to choose another account which I have created a few minutes ago, and this account's name is RDS test, and I will type in the password and click OK to connect, and now I get this prompt. This is just a warning that this other computer to which I'm connecting to doesn't have installed a certificate. So that's just a security notification, but in that case I trust this other computer and I allow the connection. And now the connection is being established. Here it says another user, welcome, and since I'm logging in for the first time on that computer using that user account which I created a few minutes ago, it will take me a few minutes for the system to set up those settings before I can do anything else. So now I'm simply awaiting a few minutes. There you go, congratulations. Now we are connected to this other computer and we are using the remote desktop service. Now this is just the Edge browser which prompts me about the settings. However, here I have that desktop. Now the startup processes are running and the system is still working. Now this is the other computer and the connection is established. Alright. Here are a few applications which start up. And this is how we have connected from one computer which has Windows 10 Home operating system to this computer located in another part of the world which has Windows 10 Professional operating system. However, now there is nothing else to do, so I will simply close that connection.